Hello everyone, it's Jean from Inky Studio. Good to see you today. This is part 4, I'm working in the Tim Holtz Accordion journal, and I'll link down part 1 that started this whole thing off, showing you how the basic part of the journal is assembled. But I have been working on the ephemera that goes inside of it, and today I have a couple of easy projects that are fun and that I think will make a fun addition to any Tim Holtz journal or any journal. And the first one is this little pocket uh, structure, and the other two are these grungy file folders. So I'll be going through how to do those. So let's get started. So one of the things that I wanted to do today was, first of all, I'm going to show you this little kit from Musings by Nikki, and it's just a fantastic little kit. I've used it quite often, and you get a digital print to print out this the design here, and you get these little cute latches. They're so cute. They look so real. And so I have created, little pouches for that, and I've used it in a lot of different little things. So I'm using it here in this particular, in the Tim Holtz. But I thought I would have us make one of our own, because not everybody has a color printer or access to printing out prints, but we can make one, without using a print. So I'm going to list her shop down below and the name of the kit that this comes in for you that would like that. But sometimes you want something that's going to maybe more match and blend in with what you're doing. So we're going to make our own today. And I have a piece here, and you can make this any size, but the size that I'm making is 4 by 7 1/4. As I thought it would be kind of fun to have it mimic perhaps a bag made out of, or a pocket made out of ticking, just sort of a fun thing. So I went ahead and cut out my piece. Now in her kit, and I really like this idea, there is a slight curve, if you can see that, a slight curve goes in this upper part here, and kind of like that idea rather than just having straight across. So to do that, or to mimic that curve, I'm going to take a saucer or a small plate, and I'm just going to lay it down here and take my pencil, and I'm just going to trace on the wrong side. And I'm going to leave like maybe 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch maybe on each side that's kind of straight. Just going to come through there, and I'm just going to make that little curve right there and cut that out. So it kind of looks a little, I don't know, just gives it some interest, which is really all about, really, I think what's behind everything that's Tim Holtz is giving things interest and texture, and finding ways to do that, I think, is really the whole secret behind all of it. So there is the little pouch or the top part that comes up, and I will just sort of navigate how I want this to come down. Now I want to leave, probably a 1/2 inch from the fold at the top and down there, so that I can easily get things in and out. But let's just go ahead and do it this way. Alrighty. Yeah, that's about right. Right about like that. So you just fold it, the way you would like to fold it. Now what I also like to do, and I like to do this when I work with corners or edges like this, I like to nick it off just a tad. Because, when you sew things or make things, they're not usually that precise of an edge, and I don't know, it softens it up, and it also helps so that you don't have to be super duper perfect in your fold. You can be off just a little bit either side, but visually you really don't see it then. And I am going to take the machine and I am going to sew this. However, you don't have to have a machine to do that. If you have like a fine tip marker, and I think this is 0.05, something fine tip, it probably would work the best. You can, and let me get a piece of paper here, you can just lay your ruler down and, you know, say you want this much of an edge, and you can just randomly put little stitch marks, and oops, there's paper there. And they don't have to be perfect. In fact, it probably would be a good idea if you intentionally made some longer and some shorter, just so that, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. So there, I don't know, hopefully you can see that. Okay, yeah, so then you can make these little stitch lines with the marker. So you do not have to have a sewing machine. It's just that the machine makes it faster. And you know, in some ways this probably does look better, to tell you the truth, but it is very time consuming. So I am just going to quickly stitch around there. I'm going to stitch all the way around the whole entire pouch. I've sewn around it, and there's two ways to do this. You could not make a pocket and have it open up like that, so that you would glue it into your journal just down here on those sides, and then open it up to journal and close it back up. Or you can go ahead and glue these up and just have it open this way. So if you were going to do it like that, then I probably would have gone ahead and sewed it at the same time, and as I did the rest of it, and sewed it right on down. But I plan to have this just something that opens up and closes. And now we're going to do something really fun. So like I say, the thing about Tim Holtz is making texture and building it up with stuff. And here is what is called twill tape. And I got this at Hobby Lobby. And it's not very expensive. Well, it's $1.49, and it was, what, 3 yards of it, which will last forever and ever. And I'm going to be using this for the straps that come down, because it's just really cool. It just looks like a strap that's supposed to be on a on a satchel or whatever. And so in her kit, they're already part of the print, but I'm going to mimic it by using this. Now, you can use, the next thing that I love using twill tape for is just getting, putting words on with little stamps. So these are just an inexpensive alphabet stamp, and just stamping little words on it, and, you know, putting that inside. I think that is just like so fun. So there's other uses for the twill tape. It's not like this is the only thing you can do with it. There's many things, so, but this is one of the fun things to do with it. And so we're going to put that. Now I'm going to measure off just a little bit more, because I want to wrap this under and glue it, and then come down. For right now, I am going to cut it off further than what I probably am going to end up with, just because I want to make sure I have enough to play with, that I might come up with another idea. And so we're going to glue these on, and I'm going to use the fabric tack for that. And let's just put a little dot of glue on here, like so, and put it about that far from the edge, and then do the same with this one. Okay, just going to eye it up a little bit. All right. And then I'm going to come down here. Now I'll most likely want to glue this down, but before I glue it down, we're going to go over some hardware to put on here to kind of make it even look more authentic. So in the kit, she gives you this wonderful latch digital, which is so cool, and that comes all by itself, that you glue onto the, you glue that onto your satchel there. So you could use that other places too, but that is separate. But here we're going to come up with some real hardware. Now, what I had in my stash were, oh my, here they are, were these here that I know I picked up somewheres along the way. Every time I see some hardware from Tim Holtz on sale, I pick it up and I figure I'm going to use it one day, and so this is the day. But these are these little buckles, really cute. They're tiny, tiny. And maybe you can get this also at, you know, and just looking for buckles at the sewing center. Maybe you can get them small. I don't know. But I'm going to be using these just because it's so cute. But you don't have to have these. You can use metal buttons. Metal buttons, a lot of times if you buy a whole big package of vintage buttons, you're bound to get some metal buttons in there. And you're going to like, well, what am I going to use those for? Well, hey, this is the perfect time to use metal buttons. Those are really neat. You can just get buttons that are not vintage, and this is, I don't want to get too shiny for you, but this is just a gold button that you can pick up still. I'm pretty sure you can still get ones that are like this. And you just scuff it up, put your ink dye on it, or even like you had some old shoe polish or something. And you can just, you know, scuff it up so it's not quite so shiny. And you could use something like that for your latch or your closure or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. And last but not least, you can use a brad. And so one more way you could do this is you can get an eyelet and put some eyelets in here. And actually that's what I think I was going to do if I didn't have these little attachments. But to work on this, I have a little tip, and that is take a piece of cardstock, and just like we did with the cloth, I believe in the last episode when we punched a hole in something that had cloth on it, you will want to make sure that your punch part hits the cloth first. So the easier way for me, I think, is you mark where you want your little punch to go, and you kind of hold them together. So here's the punch. You can, as you can hopefully see it come down there. So that needs to go through the fabric first. Do a quick punch. And then you have your hole in your fabric without, you know, chewing it, because without the firmer base on the bottom, it's most likely gonna all go into the hole there and not really cut well. So therefore you have a little hole to put in your eyelet, and that would be way cool. Put like maybe 3 eyelets on each side. Really like that idea a lot. So those are things that you can do, and let me just go ahead and put these in here, and then I would go ahead and glue down part of the strap this way as well after you have done what you want to do with it. I would glue that in place too. So this is just a fun little project that I thought I would walk you through. And yeah, you can also, you know, maybe put a button there or something of that nature. And now you have, you can just glue the 3 sides, and you'll have something behind here. And this can be a writing space. And you can put some tea stain paper in here or something to make it easier to write as well. So that's that little project. One more little quick project I'd like to share with you. I do enjoy playing with mixed media. I know I don't do a lot of it in my videos because I feel really new to it. But sometimes I have time to play, and sometimes I just want something kind of quick and easy to make it look like I spent a lot of time on it. So I'm going to, for this little project, I'm going to create a little file folder, a mini file folder. And I cut a piece of craft paper, 5 by 7. I folded it so there's about 3/8 of an inch showing. One side, is longer than the other one. Folded it up. What I'm going to start out doing is I'm going to put this in an embossing folder. Now I think, I have quite a few of these because in my card making days I used them a lot. But now it's like I have to really think of ways to use them for journaling projects, and I think this is going to be a good way to do it. So I'm going to put this through and get it embossed, and I will be right back. So the embossing folder I used happens to be a Tim Holtz one, but there are so many companies that make them in so many price ranges, and they all pretty much work the same. So anyhow, there it is all embossed. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to take a dark stain or a darker stain than the paper, basically. And I'm just going to go over it. I think I'm going to use, no, I'm going to use the gathered twigs. Okay. We'll start out with that. And I'm going to just brush over just to highlight that raised area. Now I'm going to take a little bit of ink and I'm taking a brayer. So I'm just going to put a little bit of ink down there, and I'm using the walnut ink. And I'm going to run my brayer through it a little bit there, and I don't want it loaded too much, but just enough to start going over it like this. And it sort of quickly begins to splatter that up in no time at all to make it look worn. And I might put a little bit over here. Of course, it doesn't get down inside there quite as well as it does over here because it's more flat. So it's just, for me, it's a fast way to distress that up. Okay. Now I'm going to do, I'm going to decide how I'm going to do the inside. So obviously you can't write on the embossed area. So you have some choices. You can take paper and just glue it on to that portion so that somebody can write on it, or you can, glue on the whole backing of it. Or what you could do is you can make a pocket in that area. So let's say I'm going to make this as the pocket. And that way you do not have to cover the whole thing because you're not going to be writing on it. So I'm just going to quickly tear that and measure that up, get that cut off. So I'll glue in the pocket using some of the Tim Holtz paper. And we have a little place now where we don't have to worry about writing there because we're going to use it for a pocket area. Now that I've done this, I'm going to get my corner rounder. And my corner rounder has a large one and a small one. And I'm going to use that little small one. And I'm just going to trim off all the edges. Now, if you don't have a small rounder, you can use this with scissors. You can just angle a little cut with the scissors. And like so, you can just like snip off a little corner all the way around, and that'll kind of round it out. And then I also am going to round out this folded area because it does kind of give it a more file folder type of look to it. And then we're going to ink all the way around. So it is all inked around, and I'm just going to quickly add my little tab to it. Now if you don't have a tab, you can just call this a passport folder. You don't have to have a tab. Now, what else you could do too, and I think I've showed this before, I've got 2 circles that I punched out of the craft paper, and I'm just going to cut off like the bottom part, and then I can just glue them on back to back over there, and it will also create a bit of a tab. Just an easy, fast, quick way of doing that. So there is the little folder. Did not take hardly any time at all. And here's one that I made where I glued paper on the inside totally. So it's just, you know, whatever you think you'd like to do for that. So those are the little grungy folders. So cute. So that'll be all I have today. And thank you so much for viewing. And please subscribe so you can see what more I may be doing to this Tim Holtz folder. And what other journals I might be making as well. So we'll talk to you later. Have a crafty day. Bye.